Yeah, we're good. We're good. What up, gang? Oh my God, we're back again. Like it's been like a year now. I don't know. It's been like a year since I've uploaded the podcast episode. But I'm back. No, 1 second. Yeah. See, this old iPhone is yours. iPhone. Yeah, fit.
I'm gonna make the jump, bro. I promise, I'm gonna make the jump. The jump.
Yeah, so anyway, yeah, guys, we're back again with another life experience episode. It's been a year now, like a full year of me not recording, and it's because not because I didn't have guests, it's because I've been caught up in so many things and I couldn't even like make time for the podcast, which is what was my main concern. Like, which is what I wanted to do in the beginning before I started any other things. And again, with my boy being too busy to account for the podcast, that was another reason why we're not recording. But yeah, we're back again. So, sipping ginger beer, Shreps. Anyway, I'm with my man Musa. How do you pronounce your last name?
Doing it.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
But I don't want to butter it, you know.
No problem.
So yeah. Let's be about you coming to. No, by the way, Musa is a political analyst, PhD, right?
PhD.
God damn. Yeah, man went to school to study like 100%. Like, yeah, he's the guy. I'm not there yet. I don't think I'll ever be there. I'm too lazy.
We all can.
I know we can. Just
we all can.
Nah, man, some of the things are not for us. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I know I was chatting to Musa and I asked him to pull up for the podcast. He said, yeah, why not? You know what I mean? So, welcome, Reggie. Welcome to us.
Thank you so much for having me, man.
By the way, coming to you live from the bank, as you can see the background, coming to you live from the bank. So if you want to host your party, your wedding, any event that you feel like hosting, just shout at the bank, co.uk. Yeah, at the bank, www.bank.co.uk. That's the website. So if you want to shoot anything, just holla at them, yeah? So anyway, yeah, me and Musa today are about to make history. Man's about to teach us things we didn't know about politics. So let's start with your background.
Yeah.
So I don't know how long that's gonna record here.
Okay.
But wherever it cuts, we're gonna have the vocals. We call them vocals. We call them.
It's fine.
The
audio.
The voice. The audio. We're gonna have the audio working.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about your background.
Yeah, man. So
Growing up,
as you introduced me, my name is Musa. Born and bred in Soweto.
Sure.
SA, South Africa, Johannesburg.
Yeah.
I'm 30 years old.
Damn, I thought you're like 25, man.
Listen, no. I do get that. That's why I have to produce ID everywhere I go.
Oh, but that's all, like after I saw that, I was like, no, after I thought you were 24.
Yeah.
I was like, but how does he have a PhD at 25?
Imagine.
It doesn't make sense.
Hey, I really would have been a superstar.
It's not big show.
So born and bred in Soweto. By a teacher. My mom was a teacher. Turned lecturer.
That's the reason why you got a
and that is the reason why, right? So I think a lot of us who then end up in the academic space, there's that influence from our parents.
Exactly, yeah.
And then my father was a hustler, man. This is a man who turned from hardcore bus driver to owning his own store. You know,
that's crazy, bro. What type of store?
Just a normal convenience store.
So
You know, at some point they thought of having a butcher, their taxis at some point.
Yeah.
You know, so as a man who was very self-made from the ground.
Yeah.
And I guess you could call it the contradiction of these two worlds, right?
Sure.
A very educated woman
and
meeting a hustler, right?
Yeah.
But the one thing he said to me, which I take to this day, is always marry a woman that's gonna uplift you, who's gonna challenge you. So don't be afraid of that. And coming from a Zulu man, you know.
Yeah. They don't take challenges.
They don't take, but
I'm here.
In many ways, the way he brought me up, and the way my parents brought me up was such that, challenge the world, have a voice, know what you stand for, but be helpful, right? Be helpful to others, and that is why in anything I've done and endeavored in, it's always been to educate people.
Yeah.
So I take even political analysis, whether I'm doing it on television, on radio, even here, it is educating the masses.
Yeah, it's just teaching people how.
Yeah.
Honestly, I have no idea about anything politics.
Yeah.
I just like, speaking of you, before you get into the political side of things, you grew up in Soweto.
Yeah.
That's you. So, how do you come to the UK?
Wow. Okay. So how I get to the UK, man, is I did when I did my master's degree.
Yeah.
I did my master's degree under the Mandela Rhodes Scholarship.
Yeah.
So that allowed me to do it at Monash University, the South African campus. But the beauty is that you also get the degree from Monash University, Australia.
Yeah.
And then from there, I had been sitting at home, had been running a media company at the time. And as you know, with black businesses, sometimes things fall apart.
Of course. What type of media? Photocopies and stuff?
No, I was doing online publication.
Oh, okay, okay.
So we had a whole app, a whole thing, the whole thing
Website
going,
and stuff,
website,
yeah.
everything. We were doing the thing, and making really good numbers.
Yeah.
But, like anything in business, it's a risk that you take.
Exactly, yeah.
And then when I found myself sitting at home 2019, I was like, oh man, listen, let me just apply for a PhD. Let me see
what's going to happen.
Literally, it was a let me see,
Yeah.
right? So I applied for several universities in New Zealand, Australia, the UK, and then I applied University of Dundee. And the reason I applied University of Dundee, funny enough, is because my dad comes from Dundee, South Africa.
Oh, so you thought, it's a tribe thing.
That's the type thing.
It's going to happen either
There
way.
must be something in the waters.
I get what you say.
Something in the waters,
I get what you
right?
say. Yeah.
And so even when I asked him at the time, I was like, look, I'm researching this town/city Dundee, and they even have a river called Tayside. He's like, yeah, we also have Tayside. And
you're
when you
from
study
Dundee.
the history, the Dundee in KZN, during the colonial times, there was a huge Scottish population.
Oh, so they took the name
yes.
and then River's name.
Yeah. That's why a lot of the times KZN is perhaps considered, because Natal, for those who don't know, is considered the least Afrikaans province. So even the white people there tend to be English or of Scottish descent or Irish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there's a strong Scottish influence.
Okay.
So I apply, my G. I apply.
You came to Dundee from Dundee.
And then I'm chilling in the church, my brother. Literally, I'm chilling at church, and the pastor at the time is preaching about God's provision. And then boom, here comes the letter. As I'm sitting in church.
Yay.
Acceptance
Miraculous.
letter. But the thing they do in the UK, which I like, and I find it funny, is they already bring you down to earth, my brother.
Yeah.
So already it comes with the price tag. It already tells me how much I'm going to pay.
How much you gonna get back? Exactly. That's the thing that happened. But it has to. But to me, I was like, are they scamming me? Because normally scammers come with like, you're gonna get this, you're gonna get this. Nah, this is fish.
Right? So,
but anyway, yeah.
So the price tag for the fees is like 18K. And I never paid. I mean, look, my parents tried to take me to good schools, but I never paid that much. And so I get home, I tell them, hey, my friend, I've applied for this thing. They didn't even know I applied for it.
Yeah, you didn't even tell me.
No, I didn't tell them. I did it myself.
Sure.
And I get back home, I have to tell them, listen, I'm going to the University of Dundee. I don't know where the funds are going to come, but hey, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'll find a way.
And then the next year I applied for a scholarship, which was under the Mandela Rhodes Foundation, which allowed for its scholars to compete to do a PhD. So 2 places in the UK. And then I applied, and that's how I got here, my brother.
You
in
won
the midst of, I was one of the 2. And I won't lie, my brother, I went into that interview not doubting anything.
You knew what you were going to do.
No, because one thing I live by, which is my philosophy in life, is enter unknown but leave unforgettable.
Sure.
So whatever space you are, make your presence known, not in a fictitious way, in a genuine way where if the opportunity invites itself upon you, then have the ability to take it up. And the problem with a lot of black people is we tend to have an inferiority complex.
Yeah.
Wait. So
you're speaking big words, bro.
Yeah, inferiority complex, my brother, is the inability to see that good things are deserving towards you. You deserve good things.
You feel like,
or you deserve an opportunity. You understand? And you are not just deserving, let's part deserve, but that you qualify. You understand? So when you've been raised in a society where, as a people, you've always been brought down for your race. And arcing back to my mother, who was a teacher, and she taught back in the 70s. So she was part of those generation of teachers who taught the guys who protested. She knows some of them, and taught some of them. So,
and she's from Soweto.
And she's from Soweto,
exactly,
And so being bred of that kind of stock, I didn't take it as a mistake to be in the UK.
I deserve this.
I deserve it. I'm worthy of it.
Yeah.
And I believe I can compete with the best in the world.
Definitely.
And from there, that's how I moved.
Okay, boom, 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 boom. Fast forward. Yeah, I met you last year. In fact, I met Musa last year at the Ghanaian event.
Yeah.
Which we had a second annual 2.0 Ghanaian event this
Listen,
year.
it was dope.
It was lit. Yeah, so last year meeting you at the Ghanaian event, well, I didn't think of like you having a PhD and stuff until I started following you.
Yeah.
And I saw that you had an interview on Metro FM.
Yes.
Metro, you like.
Listen, bro, this
How do you
year, my
get there?
brother.
How do you get there? They just called you.
Let me tell you. So the start of brother, hey, let me tell you. When I say no man is an island, we all need people. There's always somebody connecting you to something. So even when I did Mandela, even when I applied for the Mandela Rhodes Scholarship, it was somebody who said, "Hey, listen, I think you can do this." It was my friend, and shout out to Zugisa White. Who said to me, "Listen, apply for this thing, and we'll all back you up." And so to get to Metro really starts with my period at Soweto TV. And so I did analysis for them. And shout out to Katlego Msomi, shout out to Nico Koza, Lieto Koza. All of them were very instrumental in getting me there because they saw potential. They said, listen, here you are, you're a young guy, you're very articulate. You seem to know your stuff about global politics and particularly South African politics. And you're from Soweto. So what better than to really elevate our own talent as a township and as a community station than to have you as part of those people we depend on. And this morphed at about around 2020, where they then took me on as a freelancer political analyst under their political desk. And they had never done such a thing
before,
and it was visionary because if you think of stations that tend to do that, news channels that do that, it's your CNNs, your MSNBC. They'll have in-house political analysts, right? That culture in South Africa hasn't yet reached, unless somebody has a strong journalistic influence in them, So I'm there, I am, Soweto TV, we're in the thick of COVID-19. 2020. And that period was a blessing, my brother, because when you are in a community station that has a limited budget, you are both the health expert, you're the political expert, you're the government expert, you're the scientific expert. So you have to know all these things that a bigger station like SABC, ENCA, Sky News, BBC, Channel 4 will already have people working in there. Right? And that really helped me hound my skill.
Oh, so you became all in one. So your head was like blown up.
So imagine day by day, you have to know what's happening, the numbers, COVID, the change in policy. You have to think about what's happening in the US, in the UK, how's that affecting South Africa? What's happening in China? You have to think of the wars that are still happening, have an analysis on that. You need to be a good student of economics, understand how economics works. That's why in my first degree, I majored in politics and economics. And I did certain legal subjects as well. And at the time, I think my degree was quite ahead of its time. Because then degrees were in silos. If you're doing commerce, you did commerce subjects. If you did humanities. That intersectionality, that mix of disciplines, is a culture that only came in maybe 5 years ago.
Later,
Because then they started to see that the computer scientists were producing, the accountants were producing, they're great, they have the talent. But they don't have the social skill, they don't have the social consciousness of thinking how their decisions influence society
in general,
right? And COVID, in fact, exposed that for us, right? Because all of a sudden, you had scientists and medical professionals who didn't just have to think about the science, but they had to think about how will this impact the lived condition of people, right?
So that changed everything.
That really changed everything. And now we're in a space where if you're not knowledgeable in various disciplines, you're going to struggle. You're really going to struggle to do the thing. So from Soweto TV, I waited it out, bro. I didn't do that thing of I'm emailing people, emailing SAFM, emailing Power FM. No. I said my work is going to speak for me and it will draw them to me.
That's what you did.
That was my approach, my
That's
brother.
how Metro came to you.
That's how Metro at the end came to me. That's how First Post News from India came to me. That's how DW from Germany came to me.
Well, speaking of all those,
you
have a contract with them.
So I don't necessarily have a contract with them, right? So it is more really on that freelance kind of basis, or they'll ask for that analysis. So not necessarily a contract. But look, I've got a few friends who are trying to push for me to say, like, okay, let's move to the next level now.
Let's get to a point
and let's solidify this thing.
Exactly. Because it's a big role what you're playing right
It
now.
is a big role.
You're like more of a hub of the station.
Exactly.
And they didn't so it will take time for them to realize it.
Yeah.
But they will definitely see it.
It's not just that I'm a harbor for them and a depository of knowledge. One of the things that, a lot of them, when they come back and they give me feedback, they say, look, you have an ability to explain things on a granular level that gets down to.
Yeah.
So even when you are listening to that Metro FM podcast, for example, my language is different. It's more, there's a speed to it, there's an energy to it. Because I understand I'm speaking to a younger generation. Where then when I do a Power FM, I understand when I'm speaking to an older generation from maybe 35 years going up, right? Yeah. So these are working people, middle class. They have a certain knowledgeability of the topic. And they just want to know, okay, what does this mean for me?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then going the international route was even more interesting, right? Because there's a different way you've got to explain things. Now I understand that my audience is not African. It's like broader than Africa. Yeah. Now I'm thinking in Germany, I'm in UK, I'm in France, I'm in India,
To fit
I'm in Pakistan, so I now have to think of the language. But all in all, it's been a journey, my brother, of the past 8 years of grinding to this point where...
So you hustled your way up.
Yeah,
So you took your mom's educational side and your dad's hustling side.
I took my mom's educational side and my dad's hustle side. And even then, as much as he was a hustler, he was a very knowledgeable hustler. So we could speak on any topic, any political topic. I would say that in terms of my politics, it was very much influenced by him. But in terms of that discipline, definitely, no. I and the ability to teach. I take that from her. Yeah.
Damn. So boom, boom, boom. Why you went to political analysis? Because you wanted to teach people about politics and stuff. So I want to ask you some questions that might get us flagged. Like
it's
they might
fine.
get
I'm
us
ready
flagged
for it.
and stuff. Do you think Al Jazeera is biased?
That's a good one. That's been an issue, right?
Yeah.
That has been definitely an issue, and the reason why they're getting flagged. I think there's an element of bias.
Yeah.
But they're not alone. So if you look at news networks around the world, there tends to be a bias.
Yeah, because I feel like the owners, like if you look at it in the under sense, like you never hear stuff about other people, like billionaires and stuff. But you can hear stuff about anyone else.
I
think I think it's because of they own the station. Or they are into the station, so they cannot talk crap about your boss.
True. They can't. But also, you think about the country, Qatar is not a democracy.
Oh yeah.
So they don't have to follow those rules.
Definitely.
And they don't try to do it.
Yeah. So they just do their thing.
Yeah, but I think in the way that they have, the good thing about Al Jazeera is what they did better than your BBCs, your Channel 4s and the others. Is they really put a spotlight on the global south. They put a spotlight on Africa, on South America, on Asia, in a way that I think the BBCs of this world were not.
Yeah, because they're more into status, the title of a country, how the country presents itself to you. But anyway, so boom, Al Jazeera. Yeah, that was the main question. Like, I was just bias and stuff.
They definitely is a bias. Yeah.
Because obviously CNCA, most of the channels are actually biased.
Most are going to be,
So do you think YouTube is the next future of news and entertainment that is unfiltered?
I think YouTube, perhaps not unfiltered, but because each person comes with their own agenda. That is why you're going to find a video that speaks to your ideology or your beliefs.
Oh, your beliefs.
Right? But what I think YouTube is going to is already is it really is the video internet and the universal university now.
Definitely
of the world. You can learn anything there.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be a powerful platform, and the challenge now will be: will we see other YouTubes rise up, or will YouTube have a monopoly that it enjoys currently? Right?
Yeah, because it's the only app running. Like most big things.
Well, look, it is the biggest app that is doing what it is doing.
Yeah.
But of course, there are apps like Dailymotion, there are apps like Vimeo.
We don't know much about them.
But we don't know much about them,
not
right?
Up there already.
And the only reason I knew about them is because, back in varsity, when you are downloading movies, but you had to find sites that you could.
Of course.
You had to,
pages that people don't go into.
You had to do the things, man. So definitely, I think YouTube is powerful, and YouTube has staying power in that sense. That it will not be challenged, I think, anytime soon. The challenge, I think, for podcasters is finding your niche and being able to speak to that and having an effective marketing strategy. And I think that if you're able to do that, if you're able to have an effective if you're able to have an effective marketing strategy that tells us why is it that we need to watch your video? Why must I spend my 30-minute attention watching you? But certainly, bro, YouTube is the future. No doubt.
Definitely. Yeah. Ah, cool. So, guys, you have all the knowledge. I mean, I'm like guest right now. I don't know what to say, honestly, because this guy is a powerhouse of knowledge, honestly. And back to the wars that are happening right now.
Yeah.
No, I'm not trying to sound bad or anything. I'm not trying to get flagged or anything. Tell us what's happening in Pakistan and.
Yeah, look, so, the world is
Israel, bro.
Like, so the world
we are all confused. We are like in...
Yeah, we are all in a...
Like, I don't know
wait and see.
Exactly.
Like, don't know what to think.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, look...
What do you think about it?
Look, what's happening in the Middle East, particularly in Palestine, between Israel and Hamas, is something that's been happening since Hamas's formation in the 80s already.
Yeah,
so there's always been times where they've been in conflict.
Right?
So,
but the problem comes to me when you realize that Israel is no longer fighting Hamas; it's fighting with citizens, or civilians.
Yeah.
So that's like a huge impact. So what do you have to say about
Look, it is a huge thing. You're quite correct, and it's something they've been doing for the longest time.
Yeah.
Since the occupation or the control of Israel or then Palestine. The Palestinian people have found themselves, really, if we are all honest with ourselves, they found themselves on the side of being battered and bruised by a far formidable Israel. The Israeli military is one of the most powerful in the world. It's in top 10. Its defense system, the Mossad, is one of the most effective missile defense systems in the world. A very rich country bankrolled by America and its allies. It is an unfortunate thing, and our hope is we want to see a ceasefire. But the problem is that those who bankroll Israel are fighting a battle or a war of dominance in the Middle East.
So they're trying to get in by any means.
And so Israel is an effective country and ally for them in ensuring that they always have a stake in what's happening in the Middle East. Right? So this has to do with commerce. It has to do with also military. So there's something we call in politics and economics the military industrial complex. So what that means is, and in fact, the person who brought it to elevation, funny enough, was the late and former President General Eisenhower. Who was President of the United States in the 1950s, between 1952 and 1960. And he was the general who led the Americans and the Allies to victory over Nazi Germany and its allies. And it's funny that it is a military man who coins America's problem, says the problem America has is that we have a military industrial complex where our economy, our politics is governed by military decisions and elevating America's military status. But also because right now, for example, the Americans spend $800 billion on their military. That fuels their economy.
Of course,
right?
Because that way they know they have the power.
So what you need to understand what's happening in the Middle East. It is a battle of two things. It is a battle over resources. But it is a battle over military dominance.
Who has the most powerful?
It? But there's a third element here. There's also a religious battle happening.
Between
I know what you're talking
about.
The Sunni led Saudi Arabians and the Shia led Iranians.
So they're all fighting for that.
So they are all fighting a battle. And for those who don't know, basically, so the fundamental difference between the Shia and the Sunni Muslims is boiled down to who they believed should have taken over from Muhammad.
So he passed,
So if I'm not mistaken, the group that the Sunnis, and listen, your Muslim brothers, don't correct me, okay? I welcome it. They back the cousin of Muhammad, where the Shias back, if I'm not mistaken, one of the sons, or the brother. But you'll correct me. So those are the three fundamental reasons that are influencing it. And countries like where you and I are from, being South Africa, have played a huge role currently in this conflict through taking Israel to the International Court of Crime.
Because South Africa is like a peacemaking country.
Yeah. South Africa
is that what Mandela brought to us?
Yeah, that's what he brought. And correction, not International Court of Crime, but the ICJ, the International Court of Justice, where they brought a case to the courts asking them to declare a ceasefire. But not only that, to declare that what Israel was doing here was in actual fact a war against humanity and a crime against humanity. And so countries like South Africa have been very instrumental in playing their role. The problem with South Africa's foreign policy on this issue, I think, is because they seem too close to Hamas. It has created questions around its allegiance with such groups. And that, my brother, is what's causing questions around South Africa's status with the United States under the AGOA Act.
What is the AGOA Act?
So the AGOA Act it's an act where African countries, in terms of the goods they sell to America, they are able to sell their goods with a 0% tariff. So there are no tariffs charged, which then makes their goods competitive and have given them access. And for a country like South Africa, AGOA is very important because we are America's largest trade partner in Africa.
Minerals.
But also America is one of our largest investors
in the world.
So we need to start rethinking our foreign policy approach to be more balanced.
Damn, bro. That's so much knowledge to digest. And I had some of the things highlighted. Also the Ukraine and Russia. So after... Well, not to sound bad, after the Didi situation, you know Didi, right?
Amen.
After the Didi situation, well, that's not a topic for today.
That's topic for another day.
That's a topic for another day. By the way, Musa's thinking of starting a podcast, or we're thinking of starting a podcast.
We're thinking of it.
But we'll talk about that later. So after the Didi situation, I think what came first, is it Didi or the Ukraine war thing?
Ukraine. So
Didi covered the Ukraine, and then the Israel was covered. Israel covered the Didi situation. So what do you think? What's happening in Ukraine and Russia now? Because it's not like there's no media coverage on it anymore.
Look, there's no, media goes to where the news cycle is, right? What's making news at the time. So, the Ukraine and Russia war has now become very interesting because for the first time last week, the Ukrainians actually invaded Russia for the first time.
Oh my God! So they're getting their revenge, right?
Basically, and part of it is they are trying to limit. They are trying to circumvent Russia's ability to send more soldiers, more weapons, more equipment into the Ukraine, and they are trying to use this summer period to do a surge against the Russians because come winter it's going to be more difficult
because the snows and stuff,
and fundamentally the reason why, brother, you're not seeing any peace talks happening in the way that we think should after 2 years is because no side thinks they're in a position of strength to negotiate.
So they feel like they still need to
create those conditions. And when sides think they're in a place of negotiation, the other side, because it's in a place of weakness, also does not want to negotiate
because they feel like